It says that I'm live. It says that I'm live. Do you hear me? No one can hear me yet because there's no one bloody here. But we'll see in just a second if anyone is here. You hear back? All right. Okay. Do you hear me? Is the sound good? Because if it's not, I'm going to smash my computer up. And you think I'm joking, but I'm fucking not. This is driving me crazy. There we go. There we go. Everyone says that we're good. Got a different microphone, guys. Got a different microphone. You know, I should have learned my lesson, but I don't. I didn't learn my lesson. What can I tell you? So anyway, thanks for sticking with me. I apologize about that. I guess in future, that microphone is gone. It is dead to me. It is deader to me than a former podcast co-host. So everything's good. How are we doing? Sunday afternoon. It was my daughter's birthday yesterday. I wasn't here. I was commentating the UFC. Let's just angle this bad boy over here a little bit more so you can hear me better. Yeah, it was my daughter's birthday yesterday. She was 19. Don't know where the time's gone. So we're going to go out for a nice Italian meal shortly. But I thought before I do, we'll talk about last night's fight. Mike versus the microphone in round 4. My God, what a shower of shit. It's so embarrassing. I know. My wife just said, oh, you handle it well. But for me, Rebecca, says CJ. And you're right. No, it's embarrassing. I'm going to go live and you can't hear me. And I'm going to come off and I'm going to go again, come off and go again. It's fucking ridiculous. It is ridiculous, but still, there we go. Anyway, we forgive you, Mike. Well, I don't forgive myself. I really don't. Mike, did you watch Eubank versus Williams? No, I didn't, but I know Eubank was very, very impressive. I think he got a stoppage, right? Knocked him down a bunch of times. Heard it on the BBC World Service as I was driving home last night. 4-hour drive. Normally, I always listen to music. But you get bored. I always listen to the same shit over and over again. The light songs on Spotify, the same albums, the same mixes. I'm like, fuck this. I put on Howard Stern. But Howard Stern is, I don't know. I don't know if anyone watches Howard Stern, but he's kind of, all he does now is talk shit. You know what I mean? He just talks with the whack pack. And it's all nonsense and Ronnie and stuff. So I turned him off and I put on the BBC World Service. There you go. Boom. Like a real grown up, like a real mature guy. Anyway. So there we go. Yeah, the audio is better. So I'll use this microphone from now on. All right, let's get into it then. So obviously in that last night, the big fight was Sean Strickland versus Jack Hermanson. And what's my thoughts on the Rogan controversy? I mean, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, if you mention that. What I do know is that Joe Rogan was not a racist at all, you know, but he did mess up with some of the words that he used, you know, but a lot of people mess up with words that they use, you know. I'm not excusing him though. So as I say, it's a minefield, that one. Do you know what I mean? I'm staying out of that. Listen, I'm a simple man with a simple mind, right? I stay out of shit like that. John, who do you have this weekend? Lewis or two of us? Also love the podcast. Keep up the great content. Myself and Anthony Smith will be back with another episode of Believe You Me tomorrow. So tune in for that one, John. Thank you very much. Taito Avasa and Derek Lewis. I mean, what a fight. That's a great one. But we're going to talk last night's fights. We're going to get into that in a little bit, John. So not just yet. We got to have a little bit of order here. You know, we can't just be bouncing around fights all over the place. So let's have a look. So Jack Hermanson, Sean Strickland was the main event. Some great fights as well. Some great fights last night. Obviously, not a lot of big household names in the mixed martial arts world, but a lot of contenders, a lot of people looking to make their way in the UFC. And generally when that happens, that's when you see great performances, great fights, because these people are hungry. Not that I'm saying other fighters aren't hungry, but these people, they want to get established. They want to make a name for themselves. They want to make some money, you know. So typically, they always deliver. Now, let's go right into it. Main event. Wasn't my favorite fight. And even Sean Strickland said on the microphone afterwards, he said, oh, I fought like a pussy. I don't think he fought like a pussy. He definitely didn't fight like a pussy. But it wasn't the most action-packed, slobber knocker, slugfest, you know, piece of violent content that you expect, certainly from a Sean Strickland fight. You know, Sean has delivered many times. Last night, he kind of played it a little bit safe. And I get that. Jack Hermanson's a tough opponent. You know, he basically won that fight with his jab. Well, with his jab and his takedown defense. Jack kept trying to take him down. He didn't have the wrestling to do so. Strickland stayed on the feet. And on the feet, Jack was at a deficit. Jack's not the best striker. He's not a bad striker, but he's not the best. And he's pretty one-dimensional as well. Pretty much just does it with the hands. Of course, he threw a lot of leg kicks, but he's not like Israel Adesanya in there, is he? Let's be honest. He's not a kickboxer. He's not a fucking Michael Bisping or a left hook Larry. Let's be honest. So when he couldn't take him down, he's forced to fight him on the feet, and Sean just kept picking him away. Boom, boom, just jabbing his head off all night long. And listen, it was a clear victory. 49-46, maybe even 50-45. I couldn't believe it when they read out and it was a split decision. I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous. And Sean Strickland's coach, Eric Nixick, was saying, I saw an article today, he wants Sal D'Amato. That's the coach, that's the judge that gave it to Jack Hermanson. Obviously, a split decision, that's how it goes. One judge gives it to the other guy. He wants him fired. Sean Strickland's coach wants Sal D'Amato, the judge, fired. And I don't know if firing is the right word, but he needs to be held accountable. He definitely has to be held accountable. That fight was a clear victory for Sean Strickland. Simple as that. He outboxed him. He picked him apart. He jabbed his head off. Yeah, Jack had, a bit of success. He landed some kicks. He tried to get some takedowns. He landed some punches. But everybody knows, anybody watching that fight knows that Sean Strickland won that fight. But the guy getting paid to judge the fight, Sal D'Amato, saw it differently. Well, that's just fucking crazy. That's nonsense. And Eric Nixick's point is, listen, fortunately, the split decision went the way of Sean Strickland. The correct person still won in the end. But what if he didn't? What if you go out there and you dedicate your entire life and your career, and one loss can change your path forever, right? So if there was two bad judges, then Sean would have lost that fight. He would have lost half of his money. He would have failed in his quest to win the fight, and his career trajectory would have been massively altered. He's talking now about fighting Israel Adesanya soon, maybe. Well, that would be out the goddamn window. So that judge needs to be held accountable. And what I mean by that is he needs to sit down in a room with some other judges, right? Some of his peers, colleagues, whatever you want to call them. And he has to watch that fight again. And he has to give a convincing argument for every round that he scored. The way that he scored it on Saturday night, he has to score it again and prove to the people that he's with, the other judges, the athletic commission, whoever it is that he needs to prove himself to, why he scored it that way. And if he can't give a competent answer, if he can't give a valid reason why he scored it the way he did, then he shouldn't be judging any more fights, And who knows? Maybe the benefit of the doubt, he can do that, So I'd be very, very interested to see that process. Oh man, I tell you what, I've got a blazing headache. A lot of headaches these days. I did smash 4 miles though in the sun, so maybe I'm just a little dehydrated. Hey, Mike, my buddy. Mike Hawk was saying Jack won on points. What do you think? I think your buddy, Mike Hawk, is blinder than I am, right? Because, no, Sean Strickland clearly won that fight. It wasn't the fight that everyone expected, though. Sean, with all his talk, with his, this rhetoric that he wants to kill someone in the octagon and blah, 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 and that he's such a savage and such a beast, which he is a savage and he is a beast. But I think people expected more of a violent performance. It was a good performance. It was a workmanlike performance, and it was a safe, pardon the pun, cagey performance in the cage. But he won the fight, and he's taken on a tough opponent. So I'm not criticizing him. Was it the best fight of the year? No. Does every fight that you take part in the best fight of the year? Every fight's not going to be the best fight of the year. Sometimes they're going to be like that. Sean's had some amazing fights. You can't go out there every time and put on these amazing performances that blow people away. The main thing that you got to do is get the job done, win the fight. And that's what he did. So he was successful. So God bless him. Good for him. Hey, Mike, will John Gooden be commentating with you, Paul Felder, in London? Much love from Brighton. Well, Henry Terry, I do believe the commentary team for UFC London is myself, Paul Felder, and one John Gooden. So shout out to John Gooden. It's been a while since I've commentated with him, and of course, with the pandemic, he hasn't been getting too much work lately. So that's a shame for him, but he'll definitely be back in London. So looking forward to working with him again. So shout out, John. Hope you're well, buddy. Sean always fought like that. I don't know why people are so surprised that comes from Loren. And you're right. You're right. There wasn't much difference from the way that Sean fought last night to a lot of his fights. Look at the one with Uriah Hall. It was a good performance. It was more exciting, but he fought the exact same way. It's always behind the jab. But I think Uriah engaged more, so it made it more exciting. But you're right, Lauren. That's actually a really, really good point. He's always just throws jabs with the right hand, and maybe now and again he'll throw a couple of wild hooks. But yeah, but he's a good one. Hey, Mike, God bless you and your family. Likewise, same to you. The most famous Conor hater. I'm not a Conor hater. I just call shit like I see it. Bisping versus Adesanya. 2 predictions. Come on, man. Come on. I can't let the cat out of the bag. We can't do that just yet. Hardest hitter you've seen in the gym. Well, put it like this. Jason Perillo, my boxing coach, he's only a small guy. I don't know what he weighs. Not much. He'd probably fight at featherweight. I asked my wife to put the fucking AC on. It's freezing. It's freezing. Turn AC off, please. How about that? That's some proper YouTubing for you. Does Yan beat Sterling? I don't think Sterling will last 3 rounds. Well, it remains to be seen. I do have Piotr Yan winning that fight, let's be honest. But there we go. Stop texting me. She says, okay. Count, can you please beat up the Paul Bros? I would love an opportunity to do so. I would absolutely love nothing better than to get locked into a cage or a ring with either of those little fucking idiots. And by the way, fair play to them. They're making money. They're doing good things. But back to last night's fights. Let's look at the fight card. So, Sean Strickland, as we know, he's saying he wants to fight for the belt next. I don't think that's going to happen. Right? We've got Whittaker and Adesanya at the weekend. Who do we think wins? I think we're going to have a very, very different performance. Anyway, on the card, we've also got Derek Brunson and Jared Cannonier. I think whoever wins out of that one is probably going to fight for the belt next. And Sean deserves to be mentioned in those conversations, but I just think last night's performance is going to hold him back a little bit. And based upon last night, I think Adesanya would have a fun time. Aneurysm fun. Hey, Mike, do you know Michael Jai White? How good is he? Michael Jai White is awesome. Michael Jai White, I did a movie with him called Triple Threat. If you haven't seen that, go to Netflix, watch it. It's a good film. If you like martial arts, they've got some of the best martial arts talent, if I do say so myself, because I'm in it. No, they've got Tony Jaa, Michael Jai White, Scott Adkins, who else? Tiger Chen. Very, very good actors in there, martial artists. Jai White, yeah, he's very good. Michael Jai White, we did a little bit of training out there in Thailand. He's very good. He's very skilled, very athletic, and a great guy as well. So, yeah, big up yourself. Who wins? Callum versus the Bourbon Street bitch? I don't know. Let's be honest. I mean, I haven't seen my son fight. I've seen him wrestle. He's a good wrestler. But that Bourbon Street bitch hits very soft. So I'll have to say my own flesh and blood on that one. I hate to be biased. What else we got? Can you say happy birthday to my girlfriend, Olivia? She loves you. Olivia, how we doing? Happy birthday, Olivia. Hope you have a wonderful day. Don't know where you are in the world, but let me know. All right, let's go down to the chat, down the bottom. Darren Till versus Sean Strickland. That would be good. Yoel Romero, I love you. I love you too. My red flex, quick as fuck. Oh, my reflex. Yeah, that's my Yoel Romero. Is Joe Rogan done? No, Joe Rogan is not done. Listen, Joe Rogan's not done at all because the reality is he has the audience. A lot of people really enjoy his podcast, and it was huge before he went to Spotify. Of course, it's nice to get $100 million a year from Spotify, but I don't know what he was earning before, but it was a lot. It was a lot. That's why Spotify paid him that money in the first place to lure him over. So if Spotify were to cancel Joe Rogan, then he can just go back on YouTube. He can just do whatever. Do you know what I mean? Because his audience is still going to be there. They can't stop him. Rod Tang versus DJ March. Who do you have? Also, Chad BKFC. Well, Gabriel, I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. You speak English, bro. Have you seen the Mipe Sports clip of you as a boomer? I haven't. Mipe? Me as a boomer? I am a boomer, apparently. That's what my kids call me all the time. Team Rogan for life. I like Joe. I've never had a bad interaction with him. Of course, some of his comments are regrettable, but we all say dumb shit here and there. Hey, Mike, love what you do. Have you heard of an episode of the show MMA Raps? I haven't. Thank God. I've got better things to do in my time than listen to two people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about something that they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Boom. All right, who wins? Callum Bourbon Street Bitch did that one already. You're Gen X. Am I? Generation X? I was born in 1979. Don't know what that makes me, but it makes me happy. Why don't you let Felder do the interview? Oh, yeah. Like, that's my call. I decide. All right, everyone. Felder, I'm sorry. I'm doing the interviews from now on. And everyone just says, fine. Yeah, Dana White, UFC, WME, they just go along with it. Yeah, I have no say in that. They just want me to do the interviews, and I love it. I love getting in the cage and having those moments. So the co-main event, Nick Maximov, Punahari Sorione. Did you see that one? Good performance from Nick Maximov. Good wrestling, but a little one-dimensional. And it was just wrestling. I thought he was going to smack me in the face as well when I was doing the interview because he got fucking very stopped and up in this, did he? But good performance. It was a lot of wrestling. I would have liked to have seen him let go with the hands a bit more. That's all. Maybe that's just because I love striking. But yeah, well done to him. Keep an eye out for that guy, Nick Maximov. And I'll tell you what, Punahele Soriano, if you don't know that name, keep an eye on that one as well because he does have some heavy, heavy hands. So Nick Maximov probably did the right thing going for the takedowns. So yeah, keep an eye on both those guys. I remember you and Conan promoting your fight with George St. Pierre, says Craig Walker. What was that experience like? Did you find Conan funny? Do I find Conan funny? Yeah, so that was great. I got to go on the Conan O'Brien show when I was promoting the George St. Pierre fight. Very cool experience to be on one of those mainstream talk shows like that. Yeah, Conan's not bad. Pretty funny guy. What was the experience like? I mean, I don't know. It was all right. Went on, had a little chat. Wasn't very long. That's the thing. You do these things and you think you're going to be on there for ages and they have you on for a few minutes. Of course, most of his audience probably don't know who the hell I am. So no wonder I wasn't on there very long. They're like, who is this rather handsome, dashing, very clearly intelligent and good-looking Englishman? That's what they were thinking. But they weren't familiar, so they didn't give me too much time. Do you think Biggest Wangus does in their debut? I don't get it, but I know it's a joke. How do you think Biggest Wangus does in the UFC debut? Well, Biggest Wangus, I don't know who that is. Floating Goose. Please give your honest opinion on Brendan Sharp. His former fans hate him now. Your feelings, please. From PF Chang's. You know what? I'm not the biggest fan of Chinese food. I'm not. It's very greasy. I always feel like shit after eating it. Thai food is way better. But the point of what I'm saying is PF Chang's is good. I don't mind a bit of PF Chang's. Typical Chinese food, not so much. I was in Hong Kong with Kung Lee promoting that fight. And we were in this very, very fancy Chinese restaurant. Didn't like it. Anyway, question, Brendan Sharp. I don't really have a relationship with Brendan Sharp. He's all right. He's a nice guy. He's just trying to get ahead in life. Do you know what I mean? His former fans hate him now. Why is that? Do they hate him? I mean, hate's a strong word. I have seen that people like to talk shit about him online, but I don't know if they're being serious or they're just having a laugh. Then it's kind of like, that's what you do now? No, he's all right. Great in-cage interview with Sean last night. Very professional for you to show no ego after his comments about you. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw my video that I did. It came up Saturday morning. Sean Strickland called me a cunt. C-U-N-T. See you next Tuesday. I couldn't care less. And I know what he means. I talk about people all the time. I mean, if anybody watches me on here, I want to give an opinion. I want to be truthful. I want to be honest. But I don't want to offend people, but I'm just giving my opinion on their fights, predominantly. Sometimes it's about a situation or perhaps a take on how they've handled something. And you can't get offended. You can't take it personally. I mean, listen, a lot of people say that the cunt word, the C-U-N-T, is the most vicious and most insulting word in the English language. It doesn't bother me at all. And I know what he means. I can be a dickhead, you know, and I can say things. So, but thank you very much. Rod Tang versus DJ is a 5-round half Muay Thai, half MMA fight with a scary Thai fighter and Demetrius Johnson. What the F is wrong with you? You're the best, by the way. Oh, yeah, no, I did see that. I did see that. The Muay Thai fighter, Rod Tang, yeah. He's doing half MMA, half Muay Thai with Demetrius Johnson. But Demetrius Johnson's going to win because I think they're doing the half MMA first. So I doubt Rod Tang knows how to escape an omoplata, a triangle, an armbar, any of that shit. You should do Tough Mudders with Sharp and go on his podcast. It'd be great content. And a great challenge. Sharp hit me up. He wanted me to go on Food Truck Diaries soon. And it's not anything against Brendan Sharp. I'm a very busy man. What between my YouTube? What between my nonsense? What between my commentary, podcasts of my own, and other challenges and projects outside of sitting here? I don't really have time to go up there and do Brendan Sharp's. I mean, of course, I understand why he wants me to go on it. And I would. If he lived down the street, I'd do it. But it's a whole thing. That's a whole day for me. I can't give up a whole day. Not unless he's going to send me a check. Hey, man, did Carlos Condit get in trouble for knocking out that soldier he sparred? No, he didn't. For those people that don't know, should I tell the story? Or have you heard it all a million times? You're probably very, come on, Michael Bisping. You're taking money. Come on, bloke. Stop that. Ask Dana for a raise. What? See the guy from Bare Knuckle Names escaping me, says he's getting more than Francis got. Love from Wigan, my honest opinion on the tough coaches. Yeah, no, this I'll answer that in a minute. I went to Afghanistan with BJ Penn. Someone says, tell the story. Went to Afghanistan, BJ Penn, Carlos Condit, Uriah Faber. I think that was it. Anyway, we were flying around all these different bases on Black Hawk helicopters. Great experience. It was amazing to go out to Afghanistan as well and see what people go through and just, see. Obviously, I've never been to a war zone before. By the way, the UFC called me up and said, Michael, do you want to go to Afghanistan? And I said, I don't know. They went, it'll be first class all the way. I said, all right, then screw it. I said, by the way, as long as I get to see my brother when I'm there, because my brother Adam, he's in the army still, and he was serving in Afghanistan. I said, yeah, we'll make it happen. So I fly out to Afghanistan, and we get there, and I'm sleeping in a tent. It's like I'm camping out. I said, hold on a minute. I said, you said first class all the way. They said, yeah, it was first class all the way. But now you're here. You're in Afghanistan. It's a war zone, Michael. I don't know if you're aware of this. Sorry, you're not staying at the Ritz-Carlton. I was like, all right, fair dues. I accept that. And we were flying around to these different bases, FOBs, they call them, Fort Operational Bases. And we went up to one way up high in the mountains. And it's where these special forces were. There wasn't many people there, 20, 30 people. And we went there and they had a gym and they had a boxing ring in the gym. And we were given a little seminar. And one of the guys says, do you want to spar? To me. So I said, yeah, sure, we'll spar. And we're just having a little pit patter, a little play around, all in good fun, good natured, nice little friendly spar. And then this one guy says to Carlos Condit, he says, hey, do you want to spar? Carlos goes, yeah, sure. And they get in the ring. And the guy says, how hard do you want to go? And I always thought this was the coolest answer ever from Carlos. Carlos responded with, well, I'll hit you as hard as you hit me. And I thought, yeah, very nicely put, right? So anyway, this guy sucker punches Carlos Condit. They're about to start, and he just goes, bang, cracks him as hard as he could. Knocks Carlos Condit down. It was a cheap shot. It was a sucker punch. It was bang out of order. Anyway, Carlos gets up, shakes it off, goes at him, bam, 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 1, 2, left high kick, boom, kicks him in the head, knocks him through the ropes. The guy's on the floor, pretty much unconscious, right? And I'm like, Carlos, I'm not really sure that was the best thing to do because we could go missing up here. They all have very big guns and helicopters and grenades and stuff like that. And but yeah, there we go. There's the story. My opinions on the tough coaches. Brendan thinks that Jake Paul has sweet tats, bruh. All right, then. Well, he's dead to me. I have not analysed the tattoos on Jake Paul's body, believe it or not. I have not analysed Jake Paul's body. I haven't analysed Jake Paul at all. I've seen his fights. I've seen that he's a shower of shite. I've seen that he picks on small guys and from a different sport. And I've also seen that he might be talking about going out after Anderson Silva. Again, that's his MO. Anderson Silva's about 90 now, even though I think Anderson would still beat him. Anyway, what is your favorite and least favorite part of commentating, and what was your favorite and least part of fighting? Do you find it hard to commentate for people that you are friends/fans of? I don't, to answer your question. Favorite part is just actually being there. Favorite part is probably actually going into the cage and speaking to the fighters. I do love doing that. Before, when I worked with Paul Felder, Paul did it, but now I'm getting the chance to do that more and more. So I do enjoy that. Least favorite part is the research. It is. It's the research, but it's a necessary evil. You got to do it. And I'm not trying to sound like Dominic Cruz here, but you know, you got to do it. So like leading up to it, it's a whole week. You got to watch all these fights. You got to read all these interviews. We got to do fighter meetings. You know, we got to speak to them one by one, talk about the training camp, talk about their personal circumstances. So all that side of it, whilst it's absolutely necessary and it gives you a lot of information and it allows you to do your job better. I was never a good student at school, you know, so I don't like doing my homework, but I do it. I take it very seriously. Bisping, lad. Kai Ora from New Zealand. Kai Ora, indeed. Ever fight in Paul Lloyd Davis ground fighting championships? Paul Lloyd Davis was ahead of the curve in the 80s with the submission grappling. Well, Dean Paulson, I did. And Paul Davis is part of the reason why I became an MMA fighter in the first place. Paul Davis was my sensei as a kid. And he always believed in me. And he was always kind of like a father figure to me as well. And then when I quit work, and by the way, I competed in many of his tournaments down in Nottingham, KSBO, all kinds of ground fighting stuff. And he was my manager for a while and my coach, but then he moved off to New Zealand. And then he came back from New Zealand and sued me, believe it or not. So there you go. So we don't talk anymore. And it's a big shame and a big regret. And people can have their opinions. But yeah, he was training me and he said, and I signed the contract with him, never had it looked at by a lawyer or nothing like that. But he said, I'm moving to New Zealand. He got offered a job as a rugby coach for a big rugby team. And he moved off to New Zealand. He said, Mike, come with me. And I'm like, I don't want to move to New Zealand. So I never went. And we fell out of contact. And then and I continued doing what I did. And I made it to the UFC and I made some money, obviously. And then years later, I got filed with some lawsuit papers, which was very disappointing. John Clamer says, you have the potential to be the John Madden, RIP of MMA. Thank you for the laughs left up, Larry. Well, thank you very much, and RIP to John Madden as well. I appreciate that. I love commentating. I do. It's great. It doesn't feel like work. And I just love being a part of the sport. The sport gave me so much. It made me who I am today. So I'm so happy that I'm still a part of it. And I stress myself out. I do, like with the research type of stuff. I get anxiety that I'm not researched enough. You know, on a Saturday morning, I'm in my hotel in Vegas and I'm just sitting there from the moment I wake up at like 7 a.m. to when I go over, which is normally about 12 o'clock. I'm sitting there, I'm cramming, I'm still Googling their names. I'm looking at fights because it's a horrible feeling being on air, being on TV. And like sometimes the other commentators might go to the toilet or whatever. And I'm going to speak about them by myself. And if you don't know these people, you're going to sound like it and you're going to sound like a fool. And no one wants to sound like a fool on TV. Even though I do make a regular habit of it. So there you go. Oh, dear. Honk, honk, Kevro. Indeed. Good comment. Mike, what is the better fight? Shavkat versus Hamza or Strickland versus Costa? Ooh, all love from the 209. Shout out Stockton in the house. Strickland versus Costa. I reckon there's your next fight. That's probably the next fight for Sean Strickland. And it's a good one for Paulo Costa to get back on the horse, back on the grind, back into the title picture. So there you go. If you can play matchmaker, Reed, what are a few fights you would love to see in the UFC and boxing? Thank you for all the content. Well, in boxing, Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury. Can we just stop fucking about and get this fight on the cards? Because it's ridiculous. And I know Joshua just lost to Usyk, and they're going to do a rematch, probably. But still, Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, that's a fight that I would love to see. In the UFC, you would have liked to see Kamaru Usman versus Israel Adesanya. So what? They're both from Nigeria. Lots of Americans fight each other every goddamn week. My whispering eye, somebody says to me there. What's the next Diaz fight? Well, Nate Diaz should fight Conor McGregor. But we know he's got one more fight on his contract. Should be Conor McGregor. That's the big one. Hey, Mike, will you tell my girlfriend, Erin, that I am super smart and incredibly strong? Thanks, champ. Well, I'm just going to say this, David. David Blankenship. I've got a buddy called Blanky. Chris Blankenship. Do your friends call you Blanky? Well, listen, Erin. I was going to abuse him there, but he's got the same last name as my friend. Because you're not super smart, because you've written in all caps, okay? Number one, don't write me a message saying that you're super smart when you're writing capitals. Are you shouting at me? And you're incredibly strong? Something tells me you're not. Cannonier versus Brunson prediction. Jared Cannonier. I think he'll stop the takedowns. And he hits harder. He's a better striker. But we'll see. We'll see, because he was good against Darren Till. Hey, Mike, thanks for the great content. Did a blind person cut your hair? The fuck? Nothing wrong with this haircut. I've been going to the same woman for years. Francesca, she does a fantastic job. Look at that. A blind person cut my hair. Smokey Steve, you're a cheeky bastard. Hey, Mike, thanks for the same comment. Is your boy Cheeto fighting on UFC Columbus, or is DJ Mikey B going to come out of retirement? Also, it's 6 days after my birthday, so wish me a happy birthday. It's not your birthday, though, is it? I'll be in Columbus. I'm commentating that card. And there is a potential that Chito Vera will be fighting on that. Alexander Rakic versus somebody was the main event that got pulled off. So Chito Vera told me that he might be fighting that. So I hope so. Thoughts on Strickland versus Marvin Vettori? Again, another good fight. Another logical matchup for Sean Strickland. I don't think he's going to get the winner of Izzy and Whittaker. I don't think that fight helped him. I don't think, and I could be wrong, I don't speak for the UFC, and obviously the best fighters get the shot. But some of the comments, you know what I mean, he doesn't help himself either. But I like it. I like Sean, and he's brutally honest. How much dollars to react to my song live? Big fan. Well, what kind of song is it, Lil Bro? Oh, is that your rap song name? Lil Bro? Lil Pump? Lil... Everything's Lil, isn't it? How about Big? Big Sean. No, they're all around. Big Papa. Dana is pissed because he has to pay Jones. I don't think so. Listen, a lot of people think that Dana gets so, and again, I'm not speaking for Dana. Dana's so like desensitized to a lot of the problems that he has in the UFC. He's been doing this for so many years. He's got 600 fighters on the roster. Do you know what I mean? He can't get worked up and stressed out over everyone. Maybe he used to back in the day, but these days it's like water off a duck's back. I know. Aya says, hey, Bisping, it's 2:30 a.m. in the UK, bro. This stream ain't fair. I know. I'm sorry. I apologize. It's late in the day. I wish I did it earlier, but I didn't. So there you go. With Gain, Shevchenko and Adesanya being Muay Thai practitioners, do you think it's the superior striking style? No, I don't. I do believe that Muay Thai has many, many deficiencies, including and mainly the footwork. There's no footwork in Muay Thai. You know, there really isn't. So it's it's a good art. Excuse me. It's a very, very good martial art, and it's very good. And my son just started last week, but it's incomplete. There's no footwork. So I said to Darren Till, I said, listen, your striking's bang on, your Muay Thai is fantastic, but your footwork is a little lacking in terms of that. So. And then all of a sudden, he stopped returning my calls. I'm like, fucking hell, Darren, lad, give us the bell, mate. Wasn't trying to be fucking insulting, like, just trying to give you some advice. Let's go. I finally caught one of your lives. Why have I got a stream at 2:30 a.m. UK time? I know. Logan, 61. I apologize. I just said that. I should do it in the morning. But I didn't. I commentated the UFC last night. I didn't get in till late. My daughter had a bunch of friends over. It was her birthday yesterday, so she had a bunch of friends, and they all fucking making a lot of noise. I didn't want to be that guy. I mean, my daughter had some friends over, and I was very happy for her. And I stayed up for a bit. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. Didn't walk until like 11 after the fights. I went to bed about 1, something like that. I'm laid in bed, and there's about 20 of them, and they've got music on. Couldn't believe it. They put music on at like 1:30 a.m. I'm like, I don't want to be that guy going downstairs talking shit. So fortunately, I fell asleep. But then I got up today, I chilled, I went for a run, I had to do a couple of Zooms already, work on a Sunday, and then I'm like, oh, let's do a live stream. And it's that time. So I apologize, mate. I'll try and do one earlier. I would Prime Bisping approach a fight against today's Adesanya. Keep up the amazing content. It gets better and better. Well, thank you very much. Got a lot of plans. Got a lot of videos scheduled, what we're going to do. Obviously, I've got a good little team here. We've got Brad Tendo, the video editor. I've got Anthony Evans, he's a producer. And then John Brannigan designs all my thumbnails and stuff as well. So we've got a little empire going on. But thank you. I appreciate it, buddy. Adesanya is great. Adesanya will be forward pressure and a lot of takedowns. Forward pressure. Got to have the forward pressure. You're going to crowd a kicker, take away those kicks, and mix in takedowns. And I think I could do that. I think if you give me fucking a few weeks, I'll be right back in there. Norman, Case Savant. Michael, stay happy and healthy. Well, right back to you, mate. Stay happy and healthy. I think I'm pretty happy. I mean, I am happy. I'm a happy-go-lucky type of guy. I've definitely got better as well because I used to like sometimes fall off the deep end and let people get the better of me, get stressed out and whatnot. But now I don't. I really don't do that anymore. It's kind of water off a duck's back. I'm trying, you know what I mean? I did go to anger management. That helped a lot. And now I just don't like people to have that control over me, But I'm not perfect. Far from it. I thought the Strickland fight showed the difference between fighters ranked 5 to 10 and 3 to 4. Do you agree? That's actually a really good point. Sean was a little lacking in the diversity of his attack. He needs to work on that. He needs to round out the skill set with the strikes. He's got a tremendous jab. It's very fast, it's very powerful, and very effective. But you got to throw more things in there. Now, he did throw in a few kicks here and there, and he threw a few right hands and a few hooks, but it was 75% jabs. And Hermanson was kind of, lacking in his approach as well. Do I plan on doing a live edition of the Believe in Me podcast one day? Okay, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to say it because I'm a loudmouth dickhead. There's another thing that I need to work on. Somebody just says alive, and I'm just now going to fucking ruin all these business plans. UFC London, the night before, Friday night in London. Stay tuned. There will be a crossover event with another very well-known podcast and the Believe You Me podcast. Well, it means I'll be there. And a bunch of other people. We will have festivities. We will have guests, special guests. We will have laughs. So stay tuned for the announcement on that one. It's coming soon. Devin Tuck got a good question here, actually. Devin says, did you feel that the UFC ever unfairly portrayed you early in your UFC career? A lot of your new UFC fans have no idea how hated you once were. I hope your knees are feeling better. Well, cheers, man. I appreciate that. My knees, they're just the way they are. I guess I'm going to live with this. I mean, I want to live to when I'm 90 years old. And I was thinking yesterday, my body's already fucked. My neck, I mean, you see here, I had neck surgery last year. I'm going to need it again. They're going to put 2 more titanium plates in. My knees are jacked. My mobility is destroyed. I've got one eye. Do you know what I mean? I have headaches all the goddamn time. But I have no regrets. But if I do live another 50 years on this planet, oof, I don't know how I'm gonna fare in my 60s. Let's put it like that. UFC ever unfairly portray me? Yes and no, because ultimately I said everything I said, and I did. I did act a certain way. But there was bad editing sometimes. There was. When I was on The Ultimate Fighter, I'll give you a story. When I did Ultimate Fighter season 14 with Jason Mayhem Miller, Diego Brandao, who had a good little run in the UFC, I forget who it was that he fought. Might have been Steven Seiler. I'm not sure. But whatever. The fight started, Diego Brandao goes out there and just annihilates his opponent. Beats the shit out of him. Bam, 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 bam. 30 seconds, whatever it was. It was quick. It was vicious. It was violent. Destroys him. And then afterwards, the person that Diego beat was very upset. He was crying, okay? And of course, I get it, I understand it. I've been there. So I went over and I consoled him and I put my arm around him and I gave him a nice little pep talk. Listen, it takes a lot of courage to get in here. This doesn't define you. You'll be better. Diego's a beast. Saying all these nice things. And the guy's shedding a tear. I'm trying to make him feel better. Anyway, Shortly after that, in real time, Jason and I, me and Mayhem Miller, we got into some stupid argument. You know, and it ended with us fucking finger pointing and talking shit and me calling him a pussy and a bitch and all this type of stuff, right? When that episode came out, the way they edited it up was that Diego Brandao went out there, beat the shit out of his opponent, and then I jumped in the ring going, yeah, fuck you, and all that type of stuff, which is not how it went down at all. So, you know, but listen, it's a reality TV show. They want drama, you know, and I did say what I said. They just cut out a little bit in between. So, you know, but that's what they do with the editing. Yo, Michael, can I get a shout out from my buddy Mike Hawk? Shout out to Mike Hawk. Are you trying to get me to say Mike Hawk? Is that what you're doing, Mike Hawk? Mike Hawk. Mike Hawk. Is that what's going on? I'm going to go down here to the chat. What do you guys say? Mike Hawk. Mike Hawk. What do we think of Hakeem Dawodu? As a Canadian, I'm excited to see where his career goes. I thought Hakeem, he's a mean son of a bitch. I thought he was fantastic. Mike, big fan from Sweden. How do you think Gustafsson gets on against Big Ben Rothwell? I mean, who's not a fan of Alexander Gustafsson, right? He's great. He's great. He's a great human being. He's a legendary fighter. Put Sweden on the map. Some sensational performances. Look what he did against Glover Teixeira. But everybody has the time in the sun. And I think that Alexander, his best days, with respect, are behind him. And isn't it funny? If you just put respect before it, you can say whatever you want. Oh, with respect, he's a dickhead. No, he's not a dickhead. But I do believe that his best days potentially are behind him, you know. Some of the people that beat him now, they wouldn't have beaten him in his prime. So against Ben Rothwell, Ben's a big guy. That's the only thing. Bisping sounds like Zippy. Looks like Bungle. Oh, Jeffrey. Anybody watch Rainbow? I'm assuming the Americans don't. Let's have a look at some of this stuff. What lessons did I learn from fighting that you think could be applied to real life? And the best advice you ever got? The best advice I ever got? I'll be honest, I've never really been given too much good advice. Well, I guess one of the best pieces of advice I got was what got me into fighting was one of my bosses. He said, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? Do you want to work in this factory for the rest of your life? He said, because before you know it, 20 years will go like that, you know, and your youth will have passed you by. And that got me thinking, shit, he's right. What do I want to do with my life? So maybe that was probably some of the best advice I ever got. Yeah, there you go. There it is. Another one was my mate Blanky. He gave me some good advice once, but I'm going to move on to another question. Mike Hawk. There it is again with the fucking Mike Hawk talk. Hey, Michael, am I crazy to think Paddy will be ranked top 10 by the end of 2022? Well, he ain't going to do it. He's not going to do it by beating Kazula Vargas. I don't think he'll be ranked. He might be ranked top 15 by the end of the year, but he'd have to have a busy year. So if he beats Kazula, that's great. But if he has 2 more fights, you know, Paddy wants to take his time. He's got all the ability. He's got all the charisma. He's got the appeal that the fans want, you know. He's a marketing dream. And he fights like a motherfucker as well. So that's the main part. But it's still early days. Yo, Mike, I'm thinking of going to spar Hamza at Tiger Muay Thai. I'm a white belt in BJJ and I've played a lot of UFC 3. Do you think I'll do well? I mean, listen, a lot of people are delusional. And they like to... I don't even know if Kamzat's in Thailand, he spars. He's not. He's in, where is he? Mike Hawk. I'm just reading it wrong. Mike Hawk. What is he trying to get me to say? Might be watching you since Ultimate Fight Season 3 when I was in Iraq. What do you think about looking 7 up some of your old Season 3 buddies and having them on your podcast? Does that answer your question? I mean, I spoke to somebody last night. I said, I used to work with one of your old buddies, Josh Haynes. Josh Haynes, who I beat in the final. I do not want to speak to him. I don't want to have him on the podcast. No offense. I wish him the best. I hope he's having a great life. But he was a bit of a little snake on the Ultimate Fighter. He was a little fucking knobhead, actually. Let's be honest. I'm just going to say it. He was little short, dumpy dickhead is what he was. I remember favorite beer Sapporo, by the way, big dog. I remember when we were on there, when I was on the Ultimate Fighter, yeah, I won my fight, And then when I was after I won my fight, I had a few beers one night. I was there, I was all business. But I go into the gym one day and he'd been telling little stories to Tito Ortiz about me. He said, Tito, Bisping was having drinks last night. And fair play to Tito, he beasted me for it. He'd give me like a physical workout as a punishment. But he also made Josh do it for being a rat. He said, you got to be a good teammate. That wasn't being a good teammate. So fair play to Tito Ortiz for that one. That made me laugh. And it was a good workout. It was a better shot to become champ. Tai Tuivasa or Tom Aspinall. I'm going to say Tom Aspinall. But Tai Tuivasa is right there. And if Tai Tuivasa can get through Derek Lewis, I think he'll fight for a belt pretty soon. Seems to be. The Emmy Award-winning comic Crime Sonics. Cheers, mate. All right, let's go down the bottom of this one. What have we got here? Mike, who hit you hardest throughout your career, in your opinion? I guess I'll have to give it to creaky old Dan Henderson. He cracked me. I mean, I've got a few of these scars here. Was it this one? No, this one here. He shattered my orbital in the second fight, and in the first fight, he knocked me out unconscious. You know, he hit me pretty hard. Fair play to the guy. Let's go down this bottom. This message is held for review. Ooh, people saying nasty messages. Do I ever watch Laurel and Hardy? Oh, no, I'd like to, though. Phil McCracken. Go on, then. Belfort. I feel dizzy. See, look, a lot of people bitch. They go, why don't you read the stuff in the comments? Do you take snake oil jab? Did I take this? You mean, did I get vaccinated? I did. I did get vaccinated, and I'm totally fine. And guess what? My wife got vaccinated multiple times. Johnson & Johnson and the Pfizer. And guess what? My kids have had it as well. And everyone's alive. And no spoons stick to my face. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I did get COVID. But I didn't feel too bad. Have I ever been to Wales? If so, what do I think? My brother Conrad, shout out Conrad, lives in Wales. And it's a beautiful place. My family. It's a beautiful place. It's just full of Welsh. What are you going to do? What's up with your boy Till? Well, Darren Till had his Instagram deleted. So if you want to know what's going on with Darren, you're going to follow his new page. And his new page is Darren Till 123. Give him a follow. Tell him that I sent you. Darren Till 123. He got his Instagram account deleted. So there you go. Let's go back up here. What are we saying? Mike, you hit the hardest. We did that one. Mike, what your upcoming? Okay, all right. This is a good one. Hey, Mike, did you hear about the upcoming Belgian fighter? Anul Probert. Just got his brown belt. Anul Probe. You should have just left it at that. They didn't need to put the ERT on the end. The Anul Probe. Just got his brown belt. Something smells a little fishy. Why is my podcast on the Gas Digital Network? Because that's where it started. I only started doing this a few months ago, didn't I? And by the way, almost 330,000 subscribers. Thank you all. Thank you all, because I love doing this. I love interacting with you all and having a good time. So yeah. Were you a fan of Monty Python? Do you know what? I wasn't when I was younger, but I am now. And I love some of the skits. Obviously, the one where, what is it? Oh, just a flesh wound. That's hilarious. The biggest, dickest one. That's fucking hilarious. So, yeah, yeah, there we go. Let's go down the bottom. What's up, champ? I seen the Sean Strickland interview went good. He did. I thought he was going to call me a cunt on air. Mike, what's your favorite BPM? What do you mean by BPM? Beats per minute? You mean dance track? I don't know. There's too many to choose from. For some reason in my head, Motorcycle as the rush comes in, it's coming right to my head. Veracosha, Carte Blanche. Check out that one. That's a good one. Michael, I recently discovered both you and Chael Sonnen about a month ago. Thank you. You're great. Cheers. And Chael's great as well. Paddy the Baddie or Bisping the Cunt, who would win? Listen. Paddy's great, but he's half my size. And regardless of what he says, I would knock the Scouser out. Have you watched Brenda Swab's documentary by Beige Frequency? I have. I mean, that's just a hate piece, though, isn't it? I have seen it, though. There's an hour of my life I won't get back. He goes into a lot of depth. You know, he must have a real problem with Brendan Sharp for doing that. That's all I'm going to say. Come on. It's a good piece, but put your energy to something a little bit more positive, bro. That's positivity. Okay, thoughts on the Contender Series? More guys should build the names up. I like the Contender Series. It's a great platform. Speaking of Wales, do I know a guy, Martin, and/or the Isle of Man TT? I hope to attend the race one day. I do know your view on motorbikes. Hey, listen, I've got no judgment against people riding motorbikes. You want to ride a motorbike? Go ahead, be my guest. I'm just saying that I'm a clumsy bastard and I'm bad enough behind the wheel of a car, let alone a fucking motorbike. You know what I'm saying? I do like adrenaline style things, you know what I mean? The TT races, never been. Isle of Man, love to go. But thank you, buddy, for the message. Mike, what do you think of them putting Irish fighter Vinnie Sweeney as the co-main for UFC London? Well, that's not happening. So Vinnie Sweeney, I've never heard of him, and I wish him all the best on his journey, but he ain't co-main event in London. I know that for a fact. You know why? Because I'm commentating the event and I've got the fight card in my inbox. I know exactly who's fighting. Watch Vinnie Sweeney be the co-main now. Watch it. Serves me right for being a cocky bastard. Mike, you and Nate Diaz were my favourite. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. How strong would TRT Mind be? I don't know. Let's give it a do. I'm not strong. I mean, I am strong functionally, but in the weight room, I can't lift a lot of weight. I can't. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not a weakling. I used to be strong in the weight room, but I'm not anymore. Like I can't. I don't even do 2 plates when I'm doing the bench. You know what I mean? I do. What do? I do 1 plate and then a 25-pounder, which is a 10. So I do like 80 kilos for reps, which isn't, it's not crazy light, but it's far from heavy. But that does me. I'm not strong in the weight room, but come test me, motherfucker. I've got functional strength. But I do need to change up my weight routine. I've been doing the wrong kind of weights. I do the whole back and bicep, shoulder and tricep. Shoulder and bicep I do on a Monday, back at chest and traps on a Tuesday, back and tricep on a Wednesday. I'm supposed to do legs on a Thursday, but for some reason I do skip leg day because I like to walk. I don't like to be in pain. Could I rank all the weight divisions from best to worst? I'm sorry. I can't. I apologize. Who's that to? Reed. The best is probably lightweight. Then we got welterweight. They're all good. You can't do that. You can't. Oh, here's the best one. Here's the worst one. After conceiving, believing, and achieving your destiny of winning the belt, was it difficult to keep up the same motivation afterwards? Do you know what? It wasn't at all. No, because you want to defend the belt. And my plan was to try and defend the belt 3 times, then I was going to retire. Obviously, I defended once against Henderson. I lost on my second to George St. Pierre. And then I thought I'd squeeze the third one in. Well, another fight against Gastelum, which didn't go my way. But yeah, the motivation was never there. Listen, the motivation was never an issue. You got a lot of motivation. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't only just do it for the money. If I'm going to fight, this guy thinks he's going to try and beat me up. He's going to try and do me physical harm in front of the entire world. And I used to take that personally. And, of course, I don't want to get beat up in front of the entire world. So, when's the next podcast with Anthony Smith? Tomorrow. Tune in, believe you me. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell on that one. And we'll be doing a new show tomorrow, wrapping up everything at the weekend and predicting Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker, breaking down all that good stuff. Mike, are you commentating in London? Yes, I am. Mike, can you provide... Oh, Stephen Mora. Shout out Stephen Mora in the house. He is on here. Mike, can you provide some health tips for aspiring young fighters and what they can do to keep their joints healthy? Anything that they would do differently retrospectively? Well, shout out to Dr. Mora. And by the way, if you're not following his YouTube page and his social media accounts, make sure you do that because he's the orthopedic surgeon that has operated on me many, many times. One of the best guys, certainly one of the best surgeons and doctors around this part of the world. He operates on all the stars from the UFC, you name it. They've been in there. Chito Vera, Marvin Vettori, Benil Dariush, Quinton Rampage Jackson. The list really does go on. And he's going to come here on here with me one day and we're going to talk. We've been talking about it a while, Doc. I do apologize. Stretching to answer your question is something that I abandoned far too much. So, yeah, but that's your lookout, Doc. That's your lookout. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and give you advice. But yeah, give Stephen Mora, MD, give his page a follow. He's very, very interesting, very entertaining, and I hope you're well, sir. Thoughts on the upcoming bantamweight fight between Maya Domhaas versus Swedish star Half a Small Cock. Let's just read that again. Maya Domhaas versus Swedish star Half a Small Cock. I mean, good effort. And Mike, would you ever consider taking a fight again? I would. But I don't know what my wife would say to that. Was GSP juiced in the defense with that gut? The gut does give me cause for concern. The gut does give me cause for concern. But I am not going to sit here and slander the great George St. Pierre. He is a fantastic guy. He's a great person, tremendous martial artist, amazing fighter, nice guy, funny guy, humble guy. You know, George is the man. George is the man. So I'm not going to sit here and talk shit. Obviously, for me, it sounds great to say, yeah, he was on steroids. Listen, we get tested. We get tested a lot, you know. And if you look at George, if you follow him on Instagram, the guy's out of his mind. You know, he's retired now, but he's always getting in ice baths and, you know, he's doing cartwheels and somersaults and stuff, you know, and on the Olympic rings and whatnot. You know, he's a very, very active man. So I don't think he's on steroids. Not Waldo. No, this is Brendan Sharp. Stop ignoring me. All right, Brendan. Brendan gets a lot of hate, doesn't he? Leave him alone. He's not a bad person. See you on the pod next time. You're a DJ, but have Blur 2 as your intro. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to leave in 5 minutes. My daughter's we're going for an Italian meal for her birthday. So, yeah. First ever time I walked out for a fight, Dana chose for me London's Calling by The Clash. Great song. Loved it. Because I didn't even know you could have your walkout music. Because I went out to Las Vegas for my first fight and my team never came with me. I was completely by myself. The only person that came out was my wife. And I didn't know. I didn't even think about my walkout music. So Dana picked London's Calling, which was great. What was that? So that was that. My next fight, though, UFC 70, I would have had the same one, but I went wandering around Manchester a couple of days before the fight. I went into HMV, Home Video and Music. Home Music and Video, sorry. HMV. Remember that? Remember record stores? Remember going in and buying records or CDs or DVDs? That doesn't exist anymore. But I went into HMV in Manchester on Market Street. And I went in and I'm just looking through and I was looking for some inspiration for my walkout music. And I picked up The Best of Blur. Song 2 is Song 2. And I thought, oh, that's a really good song. So I just went with that. And then when I walked out from the fight, the entire crowd, 20,000 people. I mean, the lyrics are very catchy. Woohoo. Everyone knows that. So 20,000 people going, woohoo, was great. And it's a killer song anyway. It's a very, very good song. High energy. Boom, there you go. I did try to change it, though. When I got knocked out against Dan Henderson, I tried to change it to Dizzy Rascal Bonkers. I thought that would go down pretty well. And I've said this before, so apologies if you already know this. But right before the fight, a UFC staff member came into my locker room and said, oh, by the way, you're still going to be walking out to Blur Song 2. Dana White said that it's all part of the Michael Bisping experience. At this point, I didn't care because I was about to make the walk. And you know what? He was absolutely right because I wouldn't have changed it for the world. All right. Do Callum's farts send a shiver up your spine? Can you show me your reaction to being confronted with one as you're entering the kitchen? I mean, that is a crazy question, but I will tell you this. He does fart and they do stink, and it is gross. Mike, I love that you're sharing your personal life with us. You seem like a great husband and father. For that, I have nothing but respect. Well, thank you, Dick61905. Thank you very much. Very kind. It's just fun. It's just fun. I like to come on here and shoot the shit. I like to grow the YouTube channel. And, you know, so sometimes thinking of a specific video idea can be difficult, you know. I think, right, well, what are people going to be interested in? I've got to read your minds. You know, I've got to try and anticipate what you guys are interested in. That can be challenging sometimes. And it actually makes doing the YouTube side of things kind of, you know, it can sometimes take the fun out of it, you know. But coming on here and just doing this and going live and then answering your questions, it's easy. It's more fun. You know what I mean? because I don't like to sit here and preach as well. You know, that's the thing with some of those videos that I do, and like the way Chael does it as well. You know, I'm not saying Chael is doing this, but it's a little preachy, isn't it? Like I'm sitting there and I know everything, and I'll tell you what went wrong, and I'll tell you why he lost that fight, and I'll tell you what he should have done because I'm just fucking perfect, aren't I? And I've got all the answers. You know, it is a little bit like that. So that's why I like doing these. I like doing the lives. It's more interactive. You get to ask questions, and I don't have to think. I don't have to do any homework. I don't have to do any prep. What am I talking about? I never do any prep anyway. So there we go. Dr. Mora, again, yeah, same question. My bad. My bad. Shout out, Dark. Hope you well if you're still on here. This is why we need DC2 so you guys can butt heads. Did you see the comment on fire, Preachy? No. What do you think of Sean's fight this weekend? Already been there, done that. In fact, let's go through the fight card real quick. Give you some standout performances. Malcolm Gordon, first fight of the night, got a much-needed victory. Well done to him. Phil Rowe knocked out his opponent, Jason Witt, round 2. Well done to Phil Rowe. That was awesome. Jailton Almeida. Anybody watch that fight? Jailton, did you see that? Did you see his fight on the Contender? Dude, I'm spending all my money on this and you keep ignoring all my donations. Jake Beaker. Jake Beaker, I'm here, buddy. What do you want? My apologies. Jake, love that you're here. Thank you. Jailton Almeida came from the Contender, smashed the Dagestani opponent, and he did the same thing last night. Jailton Almeida is absolutely gigantic. He's a huge fighter. He's ripped, but he's got fantastic skills, high-level jiu-jitsu, insane boxing, and really good wrestling. So as I'm saying, keep an eye out for the name Jailton Almeida because you're going to hear a lot of it. What else we got? Hakeem Dawodu beat Michael Gisano. John Castaneda defeated Miles Johns. That was good. That was a good fight. Julian Erosa versus Steven Peterson. Oh my God. What a fight that was. I want to fight Luis J. Gomez. Can't stand him. Well, Daniel, hit him. Go for it. But that would be assault. Maybe, try to line up a fight first. Bisping, do a live wine tasting. It would be cool to see you in real life. A live wine tasting. It's not a bad idea. I like that. Although I'm not a connoisseur, I do drink wine. A lot of it. Even though I say all the time I'm stopping drinking. I don't drink a lot. I can't remember the last time I was actually drunk. I know a lot of people think I do, but I don't. But I want to drink less or stop simply because, it's extra calories. But I do like to relax in the evening, It's the dichotomy, isn't it? It's the problem. The give and the take, the rough and the smooth. But a live wine tasting. See, my palate isn't particularly sophisticated. I can't even really necessarily pick out flavors in foods. Like my wife and my daughter, you can really taste the garlic and the coriander. Oh, the basil's coming through there. There's none of that with me. I'm like, is it good or is it bad? I'm like, oh, that tastes good. Give me some more. I'm like, no, that tastes terrible. I don't want any more. I can't really identify the flavors. That probably makes me sound like a meathead. But it is what it is. I'm just being honest with you. I'm not intoxicated. We'll be soon, though. Mike, what's the English slang do you miss? Oh, God, I miss a lot of slang. Talking to slang, slag. There's a good one. Slag. The word slag. Shut up, you slag. It's a good one. You have a 3-gallon jug and a 5. All right. You have a 3-gallon jug. This comes from Reed K. What country are you in, Reed? My God. It's very generous of you. All right. You have a 3-gallon jug and a 5-gallon jug and unlimited water. How do you make exactly 4 gallons? All right. So now we're doing math problems, are we? Very good at mental arithmetic. 5 gallons in one jug, 3 gallon in the other. I don't know. 5 gallons in one jug, 3 gallon in the other. We put 3 gallon into one. I don't fucking know, Reed. Smart ass. Michael Martin, big fan, as a relatively new YouTuber. What makes a video successful? Is it the title, the thumbnail, or the timing of the release? Well, there you go. I'll give you a little bit of advice because I've got a guy, Anthony Evans, that helps with this stuff, and he's been great. The title, of course, is very, very important. The thumbnail is also equally as important. And the time that you release the video is also crucial because the algorithm, from my understanding, from what I've been led to believe so far, the algorithm if it's getting shared more, if people are watching it and it's gaining traction, the algorithm then pushes it out to more people. So it's all about trying to manipulate the algorithm to a certain degree. You've also got to have a catchy title that sucks people in, but you don't want to be clickbaity. You can't talk shit. You can't mislead people. But the main thing is to be authentic. You know, when you're having your videos, you're gonna be entertaining. You know, you got to give the people something that's interesting and try and deliver it in an entertaining fashion. Don't be too buttoned up. You know, don't be afraid to make a fool out of yourself. Fortunately for me, I do that every day, so it kind of comes naturally. How much of a bet did you have on Alexis Davis yesterday? I didn't have anything on Alexis Davis. Why? You say that I was biased in my commentary? Just call it like I see it, buddy. What percent of top fighters do you think are taking designer drugs? Well, I do think there is some percentage of fighters that are still doing that. You saw that I tried to eradicate it completely from the sport, and I'm a big fan of that. I think that taking performance-enhancing drugs in a sport where the goal is to beat somebody up quite viciously is a shameful thing, and they should be ashamed of themselves. But unfortunately, you know, human nature, if there's fame, if there's money, if there's success to be gained, they're going to try and cheat the system. So I believe it will always be a part of life, and there's always new drugs coming out, you know. Big fan. All right, no, I did that one. Sorry that I said that. The 3-gallon jug thing, I don't know, man. All right, could you rank? Okay. We're going to wrap this up in a minute, guys. My man, MB. Get on steads. Now you're retired. Oh, I'm gone. Don't you worry about that. I'm going to be massive. Tell us about sparring. Mike's Jahid. Mitch is Jahid. What are you trying to get me to say there? Bisping is confidence something you had or developed? All right, we'll leave on this one, I think. Is Bisping's confidence something you had or developed? I think it was developed. I wasn't confident when I was younger. I wasn't confident at all, definitely. But I've grown confident, you know, and confidence, it depends what kind of confidence. If it's confidence like this, public speaking, etc., it just comes with time. Yeah, it's just been developed over the years, you know. I thought I was going to go into a big, long, deep one there, but that's about it. That's all I've got. My man Rich claims he can beat me, and my boy Dan's ass. Any validity to that? My man Rich claims he can beat me and my boy Dan's ass. I don't know what to say. Any validity to that? I am Mike P. My man Rich claims he can beat me and my boy Dan's ass. Is it a legit question? If it is, am I missing the joke? I am a boomer. I do things go over my head. Do you know what I mean? There's a joke in there, I'm sure. That is not a legit question. If Stipe and John happen to fight, if either wins, definitely are they the go? That's a good question. Stipe Miocic, John Jones is a fight that should happen. I would love to see it. I think it's a logical matchup. And I think that Francis Ngannou isn't going to be fighting for quite some time. So they're going to have to do an interim title. John Jones needs to stop doing what he's doing, stop tweeting and start fighting. And Stipe Miocic is the consensus greatest heavyweight of all time right now. So therefore, and he should get a rubber match with Francis anyway. So John Jones, Stipe Miocic, those guys fight. And in the meantime, when that situation with Francis unfolds, there we go. He can fight them up on his return. I have 20 minutes to get changed, to put something snazzy on. You know, I like this T-shirt. I wear black T-shirts a lot, but we're going out for dinner. I said to my wife, I said to my kids, I said, everyone's dressing nice tonight, okay? Callum's back from college. We're going out to a nice restaurant. I said, I want to get a nice family picture. The 5 of us are all here together. It's not very often we get to do that. But whenever we do, the pictures are always shit. I always say to someone, excuse me, do you mind? Can I get a picture? And the kids are like, oh, for crying out loud, here we go. You know, and the pictures come out terrible. There you go. Cool story, bro. Right. Okay. That's it. I'm done. I'm tapped out. I got to get ready. I got to change my T-shirt, which will take all but 3 seconds. Hey, this is a nice surprise. Well, thank you. No. Bring in Rebecca to help you with your questions. I will next time. Next live that I do, which will be, well, I'm definitely doing a pre-fight live on Saturday. Saturday afternoon, before the first prelim starts, the hour before, I'm going to be going live on here. We're going to be talking about Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker and the entire fight card. We're going to answer your questions. I'm actually going to try and bring on some other fighters. Apparently, you can do that on a live as well. And Rebecca will be on here as well, answering your questions. So Saturday afternoon, put it in your diary, 2 p.m. California time. I'll be going live. We'll be doing our own pre-show. ESPN up in this house. Do a watch along. I will be doing something like that. The thing is, if I'm going to do a fight companion, I need some friends. I don't have any. I just sit here by myself. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I've got a few friends, but like, I don't want everyone over my house. You got to set it all up and all that. Mike, when we're going to drop some merch? Well, guess what? Merch is coming very, very soon. Anthony Evans is working on it. Don't you worry, buddy. On its way. All right, guys. Thank you very much. All 1,700 of you. What the hell? Normally we've got like 8,000 people. Shame on you. Shame on the support is waning. I can feel it already. I appreciate all the questions and the interaction. Thank you very much. Mike, I host an MMA radio show at my college. Would love to have you on for an interview or something. I'm sure you would. I'll do it sometime. I've been saying yes to a lot of stuff recently. And that's it. And that is me signing off. Fourth time lucky. What's up, Daddy? Hi, Mike. Have you met Izzy's defense coach, Drew Piazzo? That is a good one to finish on. Well done to that. Hold on. Who said that? Who said that? Cramp Artworks. Hi, Mike. Have you met Izzy's defense coach, Drew Piazzo? Boom. There we go. I like it. On that one, good night. God bless. Bon voyage.